And hello again, folks. So we're back at it today after the last fiasco trying to do this. Learned several lessons. So we're going to see what we learned from it today and hope we don't make the same mistakes again. Hopefully, I got all the mistakes out of the way on the last one. I'm going to be able to salvage some of the wood from the old door, but a few pieces will have to be redone. So the goal for today, I got a couple other 2x6s down here that I've already ripped down. I'm going to go ahead and get the groove cut into those, cut down all my 1x4s, and this time I'm going to make sure that the door is square. So for those of you that didn't by chance watch the last one, I did get my vertical boards completely square, and it turns out when you're building doors, corners have to be square. Otherwise things go poorly. So I'm going to make sure these 2x6s are square, get the 1x4s cut down, and see if we can get this thing assembled today.
This house has really been a good house. My only real complaint is not having a garage. A lot of people might not mind just having the barns and carports, but when you do as much work as this, it's a pain moving everything around every time. I've thought about building a garage out front, but I don't think we'll be here long enough to warrant that much expense. If we do stay more than a couple years, I may go ahead and just get the concrete pad poured out front. At least then I would have a flat spot to work on vehicles. It doesn't help me with the woodworking stuff, but at least would be a step in the right direction.
Well, my first vertical piece is cut. Did much better this time. You can tell, let me tilt you down here a little bit. This is somewhat of a press fit. So I've got the 1x fitting good. All right, getting ready to start cutting the tongue and groove for this. So my groove's at least pretty good. So now if I can get the measurement right to where this just slips in just barely, at least that's the goal. So we'll see if I can do a better run at this than I did last time. And then once I'm done with that, I'll get to squaring it up, which I'll get into more details on that in a minute, because that's where I really screwed up last time. Well, that's a good sign that you can pick up the whole thing by the smaller piece. So this technique definitely worked better. Now to cut the other two and get this side done, and we'll start assembling. Well, hello again, everybody. So yesterday I didn't film, but I got the rest of that door assembled. So it's glued together and been drying overnight, all clamped. It's It's been one of those mornings though that anything that can go wrong has went wrong. Like I just almost fell right there because it's muddy and slick out here. But we just found another door that's starting to come apart too, so I got to get these doors figured out. So I'm going down here to the barn, I'm going to open it up, and we're going to see how this went yesterday. So I was just saying anything that could go wrong has went wrong today. So I came in to get in the barn, took the lock off, and apparently the door has shifted. So now the latch doesn't want to work. So I've got to sit here and figure this out now. Well, I got the door open to the barn anyway, and here is the door that I put together yesterday. So went together pretty well. It looks the way we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and carry it up to the house. Then I just have to drill out the hole for the door handle, set where the hinges need to be, and then I'll let it sit for a couple days inside, probably just to adapt to the temperature, humidity, and then try to get it mounted. So before I take this up to the house, I'm gonna go ahead and go over it with a sander real well. I just did the other side, flipped it. I'll get all the lettering and all the markings on the lumber off and then round off the edges just a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and carry it on up. Watch out, Echo. Excuse me, guys. I've got the new surround for it. I do all that though. We could put the new hinges on the old doors for now and have the new surround in and rebuilt. And then go ahead and hang this on one side, keep the doors in case it doesn't work. Or I can get the hinges put on this, replace this door and just mount it to this for now to see how it does. And if it falls apart or has the issues, we can put this door back on. And then I've still got to put the hinge spots and I've still got to drill out for the door handle. So I'm gonna do that today.
That's that door.
It could be either right now. So you want me to try to hang this to this surround for now? Or do you want me to go ahead and do this whole surround to casing and everything? And
I'd
then
say just hang it to the surround for now. And
just
then
switch,
we can-
keep the old hinges on this, put this in those hinge locations. Okay.
I'd say do that because that's the one that we're gonna have in trouble.
Yes, this is the one that's an issue. So we could test this out with this. If this one falls apart, well, this one's falling apart too. That's would be where we started.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, I like the look of it. Well, you can see the style difference from the old door to the new door. The old doors are just the cheap Lowe's, Home Depot hollow core doors that you can pick up for a dime a dozen basically. Which the reason we're changing them,
It's falling apart.
you can see the hollow core door is falling apart. So slowly all the little nails like right here are popping out. And of course Sky keeps jumping this door and keeps knocking more of these loose, so we figure one time Sky is going to jump on the door.
I think that's the only nail that is left.
Yep. Yeah, so Sky's going to jump on this door soon and it's just going to fall off the hinges. So we've got to get that one mounted and see what we think.
Pretty solid.
Yes, it is. See, I'll get you doing it right at 36. And that's 36 to the bottom of that. I'll look and verify. Ah, jeez.
Do you have the little thingy that makes the hole?
Uh-huh. I do. What's really dangerous is me messing with tools I've never used before. too dark for me to work. Yeah, it looks like it. Should just line that up right there. So, I'm on my line there, on my line there. So now I should just have to get this thing
And drill through.
and drill through. I don't really do anything right the first time. So. That's one of the things people complained about this. They said the drill just ends up eating this thing up, which it did. So I should have brought my shot back up. Oops. Yeah, not too bad.
It's stuck forever.
Yeah. That's gonna tear the floor up.
You didn't cut your feet.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the floor.
Is that centered? The one that's on the door centered?
It's oblong. So
What is
so someone else struggled.
that's oblong?
Alright, so this goes to what your dad was saying.
Okay.
These doors are 1 3/8 inch thick.
Yeah. That one's thicker.
Yes. So 1 3/8.
Okay.
If you get thicker interior doors that are 1 3/4.
Okay.
Since I used regular 2x, they're 1 1/2. So that drill's either 1 3/8 or 1 3/4. So either way, I'm off.
Okay, so what's the solution?
I'm gonna have to freehand it.
Okay.
So
Well, can you draw the hole?
that's what I'm gonna have to. So I mean that was my center line over here.
So this isn't in between.
Since I
The
used
other two.
I used dimensional lumber. So if you went and got a pre-hung interior door, it would have been 1 3/8. This would have lined up right with it.
So is that gonna throw you off on all the hinges and everything too?
No, because I can set those when I need to. Oops.
Did you have that taken?
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
There's a bunch of washers behind this hinge to get it lined up right. They're all gonna fall out. Just hold this so I can try to catch all these. Whoa, tons of them. Oh, I still can't catch them all.
I know I kid around a lot about me being an amateur and making amateur mistakes, but whoever installed this original door was flat out incompetent. It is nowhere close to square. On the right hand side, there's probably a ½ inch difference from the top to the bottom as far as being plumb. So once I get both doors made and everything ready, I'm going to completely rip it out, redo the casing, and make sure everything is square in the way it should be. Since the opening was so out of square, there was several attempts of hanging, removing, and then rehanging. You'll see in a few that eventually I even had to take a lot of material off just to get the hinges lined up right.
This piece has to come off.
The door stops I'm removing are another thing that had to be removed because of the thickness of the doors. Once again, since standard interior doors are 1 3/8 or 1 3/4, and I'm using 1 1/2 inch dimensional lumber, everything has to be realigned.
Hello? Yep, and I'm watching Jeff try to put this door up.
And laughing and laughing and laughing.
I'm not laughing. Is it because it's not square?
No, there's two issues.
Okay.
The hinges on that side, I need to get a router or my chisel and recess them into the door.
Okay.
So that would, if I did that to all three hinges, that would move the whole door the thickness of the hinge, which might be enough to get it to clear. And then I've slightly oversized these because I was going to do that and just round them so we didn't have a gap. Because I know you freak out when any light comes through. So I try to get as tight as possible so they're a little too tight. Well, I wanted to get the door hung last night, which I did get done. Unfortunately, the problem with it is I went on the higher end of the width. Just, of course, you don't want to cut too much off. So it's about a blade width too wide. So now this door won't shut to it. So today I got to take the door back off. I'm going to take it down to the barn, get the planer and belt sander out and just take just enough off to get this to exactly 24 inches wide. And then I'll remount it, double check it, see if it shuts, and go from there. The old door was a lot easier to handle. So close. See, and it's exactly 24 inches now. The problem is I don't have the tool to recess the hinges into that. If you went the hinge thickness into the jamb, it would go. I really don't want to take it off and go down the hill again.
Well, you don't want to take too much more off.
I know it.
So I would just say we have to deal with it until this weekend when and hopefully we can buy that tool.
I mean, since this doesn't matter anyway, I could take one hinge off at a time and get my multi-tool and cut into that, take a hair out of that, and recess it in with that. It looks sloppy, but it'd be done.
But down the road, you're replacing it anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let me go get that. All right, well, I'm sort of done for now. The door's up. It's not in the best shape, part of the problem is this entire casing is not square. So the people that hung the glass door got around that by recessing the bottom hinges really deep and then using a bunch of washers on the top to shim those out to get it all to hang right. Unfortunately, I kind of had to half do that. I didn't want to replace the casing today because I want to get the tools for my router to recess the hinges properly. So I just had to use my multi-tool and take a bunch of material off the casing to get the door to hang right. So it always hangs, it shuts. And now you can see the difference between the old and the new. We definitely like the new better. Between her pacing back there and him flopping. All right. Anyway, if the dogs will quiet down, the plan now is to just leave it like this for a while. I've got to get the tool for my router to get the hinges set properly. I got to get the casing. I already have the actual door jamb material, but I need to get the trim to go around it, so I still got to buy that. I need to get a couple 2x6s so I can have enough material to build the other door. And then I still have to figure out what I'm going to do as far as sealing this up, or if I'm just going to paint it. I know I need to seal it, but I got to find a sealer that can be painted. So I got to get into all that part. Kind of like it unpainted, but I know I got to do something to treat it. But so for now, it'll stay like this. I'll get some other projects around the house done, get some work on the vehicles done, and then I'll probably circle back to this in a month or two.